Knuckleheads, welcome to my official Amanda Serrano versus Reina Tellez post-fight live show. Oh my goodness. A little bit of a technical difficulty there. But it just went down. It was a very exciting fight. Sorry about that, guys. Give me a second here. It just went down. It was a very exciting fight. It was the expected outcome. It was the expected outcome. We had Amanda Serrano, the hometown girl, going out there defending her unified featherweight titles against Reina Tellez, who said in the post-fight that she had a PhD. She's poor, hungry, and driven, and that's the way she was able to give Amanda Nunes such a good fight. Now, I do think, a lot of this was, they were giving Tellez credit because, essentially she stepped up late notice and took this fight. And to her credit, she was fighting back, right? She wasn't there to lay down and get stomped. She was a huge underdog in this fight. Serrano was a minus 3,000 favorite, as a matter of fact. But, if we're looking at it round by round, really, you could have maybe given Tellez one round in that fight. Although she was fighting back and, keeping it sort of competitive round by round, she just wasn't doing enough to win the rounds. So shout out to her for taking the fight late notice. I thought that was really cool that she did that. Obviously these opportunities don't come around much, and hopefully that sets an example for a lot of the fighters in the future going forward. But, I didn't think Serrano was in any danger in this fight. Even though she did eat, quite a few clean shots, I don't think she was in any danger. She wasn't going to get knocked out. And shout out to the Fish Nerds for being in here. I'm going to, for sure, answer your question in a second. If you guys, by the way, have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment, in the chat. Let me know what you guys thought of the fight. And don't forget to subscribe and join the FightersRep. We're dropping content damn near daily is what I'm doing here. I'm giving you guys, the best I can as far as the sport of boxing goes. This is a place where, real fight fans, people that want to be educated about the fight game, and people that are educated about the fight game can congregate and talk about this. And you get, my thoughts as a attorney slash fight promoter, former fight promoter. So, I thought Serrano was in no danger here at all. I thought she dominated this fight. She looked good. It was her homecoming in Puerto Rico, and that could be tricky, right? That could be real tricky. We've seen that. I did a prediction today about the Matias fight versus, that's coming up next week versus Dalton Smith. Definitely go check that out. And it reminded me of that because Uriel Matias was a guy who had this big hometown fight in Puerto Rico after winning the title against Liam Paro, and he lost at home in front of all his people to Liam Paro. So it's a high pressure situation sometimes when you go out there in front of your hometown, in front of your people, and you fight because you want to put on a show. And you saw that with Serrano, right? Especially in the 10th round. She was trying to beat Christy Martin's knockout record. She was trying to get Tellez out of there. And you saw her pushing, going for it. Big credit to her, man. I love the way she fights. I got to be honest. But you saw her pushing, going for the knockout, trying to get Tellez out of there. And it just, it wasn't happening because Tellez is a tough young customer, undefeated, 13-0-1 before coming into this fight. She tastes defeat for the first time, but look who she loses to. This is something that's going to up her credit, I think. And I think Reina Tellez, this is not the last you'll see of her, especially since she took this fight on late notice. I want to say they may have also mentioned that she was moving up in weight. She definitely looks like she was a little bit big for the weight class. Again, she's taking this fight for, late notice, so definitely all credit to her, no disrespect. But, you could tell that it's not her natural weight class. Even so, she did put up a fight, just not enough to beat the queen of the Boricuas to beat the queen of Puerto Rico from Carolina, Puerto Rico, Amanda Serrano. A great fighter and really a legend at this point in women's boxing. I will say this too, man. I thought it was really cool that they're doing the 3-minute rounds for the women. I think it's fantastic. I think it's going to result in more action, more knockouts. I think it evens the playing field, maybe makes it even more interesting for men that want to tune in and watch the fight, because it's kind of the same rule set, right? You know, when it's 2 minutes, you know, it's almost like you're telling them, you can't do what the guys do. You're not as exciting. You know, it's almost like if they, you know, were in the WNBA, for example, and they lowered the rim a foot or two so the girls could dunk or something like that. No, man, we want to see the girls fight the way the men fight. And a lot of times women fights can't be even more exciting than men fights. And so I'm glad they've now made it, you know, a little bit more regular. They've kind of normalized it a little bit for women to be fighting these 3-round fights. I like it a lot. So shout out to the Fish Nerds. He says, what's up, George? What fights you looking forward to this year? Man, I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, I'm such a boxing head, right? I'm such a boxing head. I'm looking forward to pretty much every fight. You know, I've got the zone. I watch everything. I'm probably really excited right now. I mean, besides that Matias versus Dalton Smith fight, which I think is going to be a fantastic fight, and that goes down next week. I'm really excited about that. Another fight I'm really excited about is, and this is going to be funny, is Agit Kabayel, or Agit Kabayel, however you want to say it, the Kurdish guy from Germany, the heavyweight, the guy who beat Frank Sanchez and Makhmudov. He's fighting a guy by the name of Kniba. Now, I'm not really, you know, excited about Kniba that much. You know, I don't really know that much about him. But as far as Agit Kabayel, man, I've been saying for a while that guy is a problem. I'm also very much looking forward to another guy who I predicted was going to be, years ago, I predicted this guy was going to be somebody at heavyweight, right? And I have proof that I predicted it. And I can get that on this channel for you guys, but, you know, I need to go look for it. Is Fabio Wardley. Apparently Fabio Wardley is in talks to potentially fight some people in the heavyweight division that are big names. I mean, he is the WBO champ right now. Ever since Usyk vacated it, he's been raised to the regular WBO heavyweight champ. And I want to see him fight Daniel Dubois. I think somebody online today or some article was talking about him maybe fighting Daniel Dubois. Man, let me tell you something. If I can watch Fabio Wardley fight Daniel Dubois, I am going to be a happy man. The other thing I'm hearing is Alexander Usyk versus Deontay Wilder. Obviously, I'm a hell of excited for Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. And then I still think one of the biggest fights in boxing, if not the biggest fight in boxing, is going to be, if it happens, especially now subsequent to the car accident, Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, because, you know, a lot of people are writing Fury and Joshua off. But, man, I've said it time and time again, you know, Fury barely lost to Usyk in 2 really good fights. Joshua did the same with Usyk. And Joshua got caught by Dubois in a fight where he had Dubois hurt. And I think Joshua kind of rushed in to finish the fight like he did against Andy Ruiz. He did it again against Daniel Dubois, and he got caught. Up until that point, in the few fights before that, Anthony Joshua was looking as good as he's ever looked. And so I think Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua are still good enough to be the best heavyweights in the world. I mean, obviously, I put Alexander Usyk slightly ahead of them. But if he gets old or he quits, because he is older than the both of them, if he gets older overnight in his next fight or he quits and moves on, now these guys are still, man, top 3, top 5 easy. And I would never write either Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua off. So that fight doesn't just have a lot of allure to me from an entertainment aspect. That fight, in my opinion, would still involve 2 of the best heavyweights on the planet. I want to watch that fight. I want to watch that fight. Fish nerds, tell me, in your opinion, what fights you're excited to watch this year. And for all of you in the chat right now, feel free to subscribe and let me know. Let me know what fights you're more excited about, this year, or what fights you're excited about the most this year. I would love to hear your opinions on that. But yeah, those are just some, man. Obviously, too, I want to see Canelo Alvarez come back subsequent to that Terrence Crawford defeat. I want to see what he looks like. What does this guy look like after losing, you know what I mean, to Terrence Bud Crawford? I'm hearing David Benavidez might be fighting Artur Beterbiev as well. That is absolutely nuts. I want to see Bivol fight. I mean, listen, this may be 2026 could shape up to be one of the most exciting years in the sport of boxing in a very long time. So those are the fights I'm excited about. Now, another thing I wanted to comment on, and I kind of want to touch base again and go back to Serrano versus Tellez, is, my goodness, I mean, how great are the fans? How great are the fight fans in Puerto Rico, man? Puerto Ricans just have so much pride in their country and in their culture and in their athletes and musicians and everything else. And you could hear the excitement. You could hear the excitement in that arena. And I thought it was really cool. I know a lot of people don't like him. But I thought it was really cool to see Jake Paul, right, in the ring beforehand, waving the Puerto Rican flag in Amanda Serrano's corner. I mean, that was pretty cool. That is the way a promoter's supposed to get down. I can tell you from firsthand experience. And it kind of reminded me, right, of Don King when he would wave the American flag and say, only in America, So having Jake Paul in that corner with his popularity, right, waving the Puerto Rican flag in Puerto Rico, where I guess, now he lives and trains, I thought that was a very cool thing. I love the way, I don't love Jake Paul as a fighter and all the stuff he said. I don't, I'm not a huge fan at all. But I do like, and I've always said, if he can give opportunities to people that otherwise wouldn't have them, especially the ladies, the young prospects, this and that, people that need the eyes, people that deserve the eyes. If he can give those opportunities to the people that deserve the eyes, right? Like the great female fighters like Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor and Reina Tellez and all these people. If he could provide that, that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. And, having watched this fight now, I'm even more excited because of the Puerto Rican fan base. I always say, I think the UK and Mexico are the best fight fans. And then you go to Puerto Rico, bro, and you hear how rowdy and electric that crowd is. And, I promoted fights in South Florida as well as California. And, man, those South Florida crowds, because you had the Puerto Ricans, you had the Caribbean, countries, you had Venezuela, you had Haiti, you had all these people. Man, these people got a hunger for fighting too, man. The Cubans, all of it, The Dominicans, man, we had Ecuadorians, everything. But the Puerto Ricans, I mean, especially when you think back on the Puerto Rican and Mexican rivalry in boxing, man, you're reminded when there's some Puerto Rican fans, hey, these people absolutely love their sport. These people absolutely love their sport, and these people love their athletes. And my goodness, I mean, you better bring it when you're fighting in Puerto Rico in front of some Puerto Ricans, because they want to watch a fight and they're going to represent their fighter to the death of it. It's not going to be a situation where I grew up in Miami with the very fickle Miami Dolphins fans, right? It's not going to be a situation where, somebody's born there and they're going for a different team like we had at those Miami Dolphins gains. You know what I mean? If you're Puerto Rican, man, it's going to be very tough if you're in Puerto Rico to find somebody going for the non-Puerto Rican opponent. You know, they ride for their people. I like that a lot. And I noticed that today with Amanda Serrano, and it made me want to watch that Subriel Matias fight versus Dalton Smith even more. I mean, forget the fact that Subriel Matias brings the heat every time he fights, right? He fights to the death, that guy. And forget also the fact that Dalton Smith, even though he's relatively unknown, is very exciting and very skilled, right? And I dropped my prediction on who's going to win that fight. It being in New York with all those Puerto Ricans and fight fans up there, that's going to be a fantastic experience, I think, for anybody who tunes in or attends. Man, I might have to buy me a ticket, head on out to the Barclays in New York to check that out. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, you know, those are the fights I'm excited about this year. You know, and I'm sure more fights will be announced. I'm looking forward to seeing what Bivol does next. I saw another fight I'm very excited about is Toro Resendiz. He's being trained by Manny Robles, who's a buddy of mine. We actually used to do shows on this channel together, a podcast together. He's fighting Beck the Bully. He's fighting Beck the Bully. So, you know, I look forward to that fight too. I mean, I think that's going to be another banger, really. I mean, that's going to be another fight where fight fans get their money's worth, right? And that's what we want. You know, we want to watch fights where we get our money's worth. We don't want to watch, you know, these goofy fights where people just move around and touch each other for 12 rounds. We want to watch exciting fights, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, I hate technical boxing, but I like aggressive technical boxing, right? And I think that's what you're going to get out of Dalton Smith. You know, that's what you get out of Amanda Serrano. That's what you're going to get out of, I think, Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. And so many more, you know, so many more. So those are the fights I'm excited about this year. But yeah, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, join the channel and get your Fighters Rep merchandise in the link below to help me continue to grow this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, any super chats are very much welcome on here. I just reinvest it right back into the channel and continuing to build the channel. Another thing I wanted to say, man, watching that crowd, man, it kind of gives you that itch, you know, to promote again. Once you've been a promoter in the past, you know, it gives you that itch to put on a show and have a big, crazy crowd out there again and, you know, watch people go crazy in the process of developing these fantastic young fighters. But, you know, I think it's time for me to hang up the promoter gloves and stick to just talking about the fights, which is, you know, what I enjoy doing the most. I see the viewers in here continue to increase, so please, if you haven't already, subscribe, join the channel. And if you're just joining us, Amanda Serrano wins a unanimous decision win against Reina Tellez to retain her featherweight title. She is the unified featherweight champ. I look forward to watching her some more, man. I love the way she fights. She was out there, even though they were doing 3-minute rounds, 10 rounds. She was out there in that final round trying to get Tellez out of there, trying to get the young warrior in Tellez out of there who was undefeated before this fight. Trying to putting on a show for the Boricuas down there in Puerto Rico. And she was aggressive. And, you know, it kind of makes me feel like she was probably conserving her energy because it was a 10-round fight to the very end. And then she probably said to herself, you know what? I feel good. I still got plenty of gas in the tank. Let me mash the gas. Let me try to get this girl out of there. And she went out there, man, and she was trying to get Tellez out of there. I'm sorry, she was trying to get Tellez out of there. So, a dope performance by Amanda Serrano, as usual. She's always exciting. A good performance as well by Reina Tellez. You know, she didn't win, but she stepped up late. She earned her respect. It sounds like MVP is going to want her back for what she did, which is deserved, if you ask me. And it was a good fight, man. I look forward to watching, you know, Amanda Serrano some more. this year. So if you guys haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know what you think in the live chat. I'd love to hear what you guys thought about this fight. I thought it was a fun fight. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for you guys this evening. Amanda Serrano gets the unanimous decision win over Reina Tellez. And we'll see more of the both of them coming up soon. And also, don't forget to tune in Monday live for the Fighters Rep podcast with me and my man, Ignorant Behavior.